My name is Wendy Rosenthal, and I am here with my Pathfinder collaborator and good friend, Miriam Schenken. Hey, Miriam, how are you today?
I am great, and I'm excited to be with you again on another Pathfinder Mastermind, our second one. So I'm excited.
I'm, I'm very excited. And I know the topic that we're talking about today is one that you and I both, in our different practices, use a lot and talk to our clients a lot. So I'm excited to share your thoughts about this and kind of give you some of my feedback of what I'm seeing in terms of how it operates in business as well. So basically, the thing we wanted to talk about today is the idea that, a lot of people say seeing is believing, but in spirituality, it's actually reverse. It's believing is seeing, right? And we have a lot of people that we work with who are constantly looking for the validation and for the results, right? And waiting for those things to happen before they take steps or move forward, right, Miriam?
Yeah, and I think it's also, there's a tendency for us to, and I have been that person, and we occasionally are all do that. Is when this happens, then I will be happy. When this happens, I will be successful. When this happens, and so what we're talking about is that we need to in order to bring that into our lives, we need to already feel as if,
Right.
I want to feel what it feels like to be successful, or to see myself as successful and find the things that I feel successful in now in order to bring more success, or feel what it feels like to be happy and loving in order to bring another person into my life. So I think that's part of it. Yeah. And then also the whole idea of, you know, uh, our belief systems that get in the way of us getting those things is the big thing that I think we want to talk about today too, is that what we believe we see instead of what we see we believe. And so what we believe is, especially being that I, try and work with people over 50, is like, you know, it's going to be harder for me at my age to find a relationship, or it's going to be harder for someone my age to find a great job. And so what happens is that, being that I work with law of attraction, the law of attraction is that what you vibrate out, you attract. So the belief system of it's going to be hard for me, you are actually going to see evidence of that, because that is what you put out there.
Right. I was going to say two things. One, really quickly, I read a great article today, just today, about a 95-year-old couple who just are getting married. And their comment was, people think that, at 95, that life is over,
Over.
that you can't find love. And we're here to tell you that's just absolutely insane. And I was the best thing. I was like, I love that. I mean, when you see the world that way, that there's nothing stopping you, there's no age barriers, there's really nothing that's stopping you but you.
Right.
It's really eye-opening. And the second thing I wanted to say, and Miriam, you work with the law of attraction. I work in a different medium. And one of the things that I'm always talking to my clients about, I mean, almost daily, is the fact that we, believe it or not, spend our days validating our limited belief systems. It's
All the
human
time.
nature. So if there is a limited belief system that was, let's say generated as a youth, somewhere in your life when you were very young, you may not even understand that it's there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you are seeking actively ways to prove yourself right.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
when you start to understand that, and then you start to look at or work with a coach to help uncover some of these limited belief systems, and there's many modalities that do it. I'm sure people have heard of theta healing, law of attraction. There's like so many different modalities and spiritual practices that do work on these types of things. When you start realizing how much we validate this, I just want to give a quick example. um, I was working with a client yesterday, and he had a very sad and angry breakup with his wife. Okay, that put him in a place that he doesn't necessarily want to be, running a business that he loves, but it feels like everybody in the business is like, he always calls me up. It's like, can you believe another person quit? Can you believe another person didn't come in? Can you believe another person got sick and had to like, and I'm here by myself, and I'm doing everything in this business by myself. And I said to him, and he didn't even understand. I said, do you see the mirror image between
Right.
your life and your work right now?
Right.
This happened in your life, and now you're creating a scenario in your business where you're attracting people who do exactly the same thing that your wife did to you.
Mhm.
You're proving yourself right. Are you happy with that?
Exactly. Right. Right. No, we are always justifying our limitations and our belief systems. And you know, it's funny when you talk about, and I just want to say a quick hi to Andy and Marguerite for being online with us. Hey, you know, if you look at anything, even when you talk about the placebo effect or the fact that two people get the same diagnosis, but two people are told you'll never walk again. And then you find out that one person basically says, I'll never walk again, and they never walk again. And the other person says, screw that, I'm walking again, and they walk again. But they both had the same prognosis. What is the difference? It's their belief systems. It's what they believe is possible. And so all of us go through that. We all have our things. I will tell you an example just for myself. A couple of weeks ago, I realize, and I think it's so important for us to really become aware of our self-talk. I'm always talking about how I'm not good at technology. I'm
Mhm.
not good at technology. It's not my thing. I'm not
Trust
that
me,
good
folks,
at it.
I've heard it. I've heard it. She
You've heard
said it
it.
to me. Oh
I
yeah,
say it all the time.
all
And
the time.
so I had two instances where I was doing a class on Zoom and no one could get in. And because something happened with, I don't know what I did wrong with the Zoom link. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to do an Instagram live with someone. And I was nervous because I'd never done it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not good at this stuff. And sure enough, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get on with the person that kept inviting me. And at first I was so frustrated. And then I'm like, Miriam, what do you expect? You're constantly saying to the universe out loud in your thoughts, I'm not good at technology. I'm not good at technology. So the reality is I am constantly justifying that limitation. And so no one's doing it to me. It's not like the universe is out there testing me to see, we test ourselves. We are our own worst enemies in that way. There's our inner self that is perfection, that sees us being able to do everything. And then it's our physical body that has those thoughts and patterns that say, I can't do this. I'm not good at this. Oh, the other thing is like we face reality. That's the other thing I try and teach my clients. Stop facing reality, because reality will tell you, oh, well, at this point, it's almost going to be impossible to do this. Or reality says, or research shows, research
Right.
shows. Why is research show? Because the people doing that research have a thought that this is, why there are a million different diets and they all have research that they all
Right.
work. Why is that? How, and they don't even, one says it's okay to eat this and one says it doesn't. And they both work and they both have research that people lost weight on both, because when you're going in, it's that whole placebo effect.
Right.
This is going to make me lose weight and I believe it and I am going to lose weight. This is my research. So it's the same thing. And even for little things that each of us do, we need to start realizing this is what I create. I am creating it. No one's doing it to me. No one is out there, saying this is how it is for you. We do it to ourselves.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you actually started validating your expanded belief
Oh
system?
my God.
I mean, you would be
Yeah,
like, you'd be bringing everything that you ever wanted to yourself, because you'd be telling
exactly.
yourself all the time, I'm great at this, I'm good at that, I want this, I can have that. There's no barriers, there's no stopping me. And I think that's one of the most important things about having coaches in your life. I think
Absolutely.
whether it's, your style, Miriam, or my style, we're just finding your path to turn those things around and to be able to validate those positive um,
Absolutely.
aspects,
Absolutely.
positive belief systems that you have about yourself, and starting to let go of the negative ones, the things that say, I don't believe it until I see it.
Right, exactly. And I think, one of the things as a coach I try and do too is also for us to not only be aware on a regular basis of, what is my self-talk or what are my belief systems that are limiting me, but also to really make sure that we start every morning, every day with, positively, and whatever that looks like for you, whether it be meditation or quieting your mind, like whatever that looks like for you, walking out in the park, is that we need to begin each day with already having an idea of staying on a positive thing. And we're not gonna be perfect every day. None of us are. We all start to go to negative emotion or negative beliefs. But the more that we do that, we start to create a momentum where you'll start to see changes based on starting out our day with, I'm going to have, no matter what happens out there, I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to believe that things are happening. And the other thing is that to realize that there's, I know that you and I being, our coaching has spiritual aspects to it, knowing that there's something greater than ourselves out there to support us. And believe me, that the creator, source energy, whatever you want to call it, is always wanting the best for us, wants to give us everything. And when we are vibrating in that place where we're in a positive place and open to those things happening, even if we don't know how, then the universe is there to say, here, I want to give it to you, but stop saying it's not going to happen. Stop putting in those limiting thoughts, because then I can't share with you.
So Miriam, I think you just gave a couple of tips. I think we were going to the idea of how do we help people, or what can we share with people today that can help them, first of all, maybe break maybe even find their limited belief systems. But do you have any tips besides the fact waking up in the morning and really trying to like wake up on a positive note? Do you have anything else you want to share today?
I do. One thing that is simple, this most simple thing that you could do all day long, or whenever you're thinking about it, is whenever you have a thought, ask yourself, is this thought satisfying? Is this thought satisfying? Because if it's not satisfying, you're starting to move away from where you want to go in life and to what, how you want to feel. But if your thought is satisfying, you don't need to go to the point of, am I happy? Am I joyful? Am I ecstatic? Satisfying. Is my thought satisfying? And if it isn't, then you check in and say, okay, I just had some negative self-talk, or I'm like starting to go back again. I'm going into my old patterns. And then you shift it, because if you can shift it right at the beginning and start moving to a more satisfying thought, then you're catching it before it gets to the point where it's hard to come out of it. And so if you are having a satisfying thought, then build on it. And it could be very general. It's a beautiful day. There's no rain today. I'm looking forward to, whatever it is. I'm going to have a nice shower. Before you can take the smallest things and start to find satisfaction in the thoughts, and then build and build and build. And if you can do that all day long, you'll start to be more aware of when you're having that limiting beliefs coming up, or when you're having a unsatisfying thought or negative self-talk. You start to become more aware. And once you become more aware, then you start realizing it more, and you start shifting those patterns.
Right. I want to just add a little tip on your tip, because
add a tip to the tip.
Add a tip to the tip. So one of the things that I use in my practice that builds on what you just said is, if you've identified that you have an unsatisfying thought, one of the ways that I help my clients shift that, because it's like, okay, how do I shift it? Is in that moment, you identify it. The next thought is, what am I grateful for? Mm-hmm. What am I grateful for? So whether it's, in that moment you say, I used to do this too for myself. I'm grateful for, I have a house, I have great friends, I have a beautiful son, I have a fantastic husband, I love where I live, I love what I do, like whatever, just rattle some off. And it's absolutely amazing how that dissipates that energy, that negative, unsatisfying energy. For me also, it stopped the running commentary in my head. Mm-hmm. That is, I'm not this, I'm not that. It doesn't come as a how do I say it? Like something that happens every day. Now it's like a once in a while. It's like
Right.
And now I know how to combat it in a different way. So I totally agree with you. I just add that on as a
Yeah,
tool you
for
can use
sure.
to kind of.
Absolutely. And there's, you have to find also like if there's a certain little affirmation that works for you. I know for me, if I start going into negative place, I just do a generalization of I know things are always working out for me. I don't have to figure it out today. Like, and those are two that I use pretty regularly when I get like overwhelmed with something. And definitely it needs to be authentic. You can't use an affirmation that you don't really feel
Right.
because the universe knows the difference. Like it's like, but something that you find for you that works in that moment to help take you out of that so you can start, going into a more positive direction for
All
sure.
right. Well, thank you so much, Miriam. And we really hope that everybody who's seeing this starts to understand and learn how to move away from those limited belief systems that don't let you believe before you see, and to be able to shift those unsatisfactory thoughts so that you can really start to feel the way the universe wants to bring things to you. We here at Pathfinder are a collective of coaches ranging from business to life coaching using different methodologies. And we really encourage you to visit our website at www.pathfinder1to1.com. That's Pathfinder, the number one, TO, the number one.com. You can see all of our services. You can find out more about me and Miriam on that, and you can definitely book through there. We are very excited to be here. We're going to keep coming back with some more insights and thoughts to share with you. If you have any questions, feel free to visit all of our social media platforms, which is Pathfinder 1-to-1, and leave your comments there. We'll get back to you. And please feel free to share this with anybody that you like if you found it inspiring and interesting and something that you feel you can take into your own practice. We wish you many, many days of believing before you see, because when you believe in yourself, the world is at your feet. Thanks, Miriam.
Thank you, Wendy.